just getting ready to interview the cake queen. Katherine Sabbath is here. She's colourful. She's amazing. She's even brought...
my earrings on.
She's brought a cake, which is the best part. No offence. But look at this. I don't even know what that is, but I can't wait. I can't wait to talk to Katherine and hear her story. Yay! Do you drink tea?
I love tea. Yeah. I absolutely love tea. I was a big chamomile drinker with the whole recovering, well, I still stutter, so I say I'm a recovering stutterer. The anxiety, things like chamomile every day really helped.
Oh, wow.
I'm back on the coffee now, but I shouldn't be.
Okay.
Tea is so relaxing and it's really good for you.
You're actually by trade and by study a school teacher, and that was your day job until you thought one day, I'm going to make cakes. Talk me through that.
You know what, when people ask me what I do, it's really difficult for me to say concisely what it is.
Yeah.
I make cakes now and I've got a cookbook, but I very much feel like the teaching is such an important part of me and my journey. And so I taught out in Campbelltown for 4 years. I was a high school history and geography teacher, and I absolutely loved it. And you know, I studied for 5 years to get there. When I was younger, I was a recovering stutterer as well.
Wow.
So to be a teacher was such a big goal for me, and it was actually something that I thought was completely unattainable as a career path for someone who had a stutter. And now I'm more fluent because I've just grown up and I don't care as much anymore.
Yeah.
But that role was just so important to me because it was so difficult to get there. So leaving that and then moving into the cake world was a big decision, but hopefully a very sweet one, pardon the pun, and something that will pay off in the long term.
Because it does take a lot of courage to change career paths, something you've studied for 5 years for, you're invested into it, I'm sure you love the kids that you taught, the school, you get involved in the community, and then to just all of a sudden uproot and try something you've never done before. It's unknown how it's going to turn out. The future is very unsure. That to me is ballsy and it takes a lot of courage. I'm
still going through that journey of whether or not I'll make it, because I think that you should always have goals. Like even if you reach the goal, make it bigger. Never feel like you've made it, never be complacent. And I think courage is always putting yourself in a situation where you don't know if you're there yet, always pushing yourself. And also being able to adapt to change. Things that scare you, you can just say no because it scares you. But if you really think about it and just kind of like objectively say, am I saying no because I'm scared, or am I saying no because I've thought about this properly and it's not what I want? That's what drives me. At the beginning, I was so scared to leave like a full-time job, which I loved. And you know, my mum, like I didn't tell my parents that I was thinking about leaving full-time teaching to pursue something that happened on social media, that existed on social media.
So how did it happen? You were just making cakes, taking photos, and then people started recognising?
When I was teaching, you're always told not to give too much of yourself, not to share anything personal on social media, and that's all fair. So I changed my last name, and my Facebook's settings were like maximum privacy. But Instagram wasn't something where people could tag you in photos yet, and it was still very much a niche kind of app. So I signed up to Instagram and I only uploaded photos that I knew were okay, cakes, my hobbies, not photos of me like going out. Not that I would ever do anything incriminating, don't get me wrong, but they were very safe photos, just my hobby. And that just led to me, I guess, unknowingly building a portfolio, and then people finding that portfolio. And then that's when I started gaining traction with the cakes, but it was never something that I intended to happen.
Yeah.
It just did, because that's all I could really post.
And when did you know that you could take the leap and quit your job, security, money, paycheck, and go into this?
I had seen a lot of my students leave high school, and I knew that my current set of year 11s who were going into year 12 would be in really good hands, and that they would be all right. A lot of the reason why I didn't leave is because you don't want to feel like you're abandoning the students that you've built these relationships with. So that guilt was something that held me back, which I don't regret. I loved doing what I did, but I wanted to make sure that my students would be okay. And also it got to the point where they were all encouraging me to pursue something in cakes in a really nice way. They would say things like, oh miss, why don't you do this as a full-time job? Why don't you sell your cakes? You should do, a YouTube channel. So that's when I started taking it seriously, to be honest, when I felt like I had the encouragement of people around me who believed in me.
How do you make money being a cake maker?
Yeah, good question. I did sell some at the beginning, and then I need to thank them. They really helped me. Peters of Kensington, I did some cake demonstrations with them. They invited me, and that's when I thought, hey, well, maybe I can use my high school teaching to help other like-minded people make cakes. And then I'm not really leaving teaching at all. I'm just teaching a different demographic of people. So I started doing that, and I loved it, and it worked. I found that, just the way, like explaining things in a really simple way and just being an honest, authentic person in the classroom translates perfectly to teaching people how to make cakes. So that's what propped me up for a while. And also writing, collaborating with brands and writing new cake ideas and food ideas for them. Tips and tricks. So I did some behind the scenes work as well, like developing new milkshakes for cafes, juices, and breakfast smoothie bowls and things like that. Then after a few years, the endorsements started coming, so I could collaborate with brands on things that were cake related, and also brands that worked within the realm of food. Yep. Which was perfect. Yeah. And now the book as well.
I know. Before we get to this incredible book, which is just blowing my mind, talk to me about your style. Your physical style is incredible. It's so colourful and quirky, and just everything's kind of put together, mismatched, but works so well. And then you've incorporated that colourful, amazing fluoro, just everything all at once into your baking and your cakes. Was that just an extension of your own personal style, or did it start with the cakes and then transfer to your own body?
Firstly, I really appreciate you making that comparison. That means so much to me that someone would say, hey, you are reflective of your cakes. Because I didn't actually notice until people would point out to me, oh, you're matching your cake today, you're wearing the same colours.
All right.
I can, the biggest compliment is when someone says, I knew that was your cake. Yes. I knew you had made that.
That's like a signature.
Yeah, that means so much, because then it's no longer, I guess, like a commodity, like something you sell, but it's actually, a part of your character. And so I really like that. Thank you. With fashion and style, I love colour. I don't know where that came from. I was always a very quiet child growing up, very introverted, and would sit in colour, and that was my world, and that's where I found peace.
Wow.
I'm lucky that my parents fostered that in me. I'm lucky that they allowed me growing up to stick posters on the walls and be artistic. I know my dad would always be concerned about the paint peeling off with the blue tack and things like that, but he let me stick posters all over the ceiling and do creative things on my computer desk. So I'm very grateful that I had parents who encouraged that. But I did want to be an artist growing up too, but I didn't have any role models that were working in art or were making a living out of being creative. So it's, it's the old age saying, you know, if she can see it, she can be it. So I hadn't had those role models in my life doing anything like that. So I thought that wasn't a viable career for me.
Yeah, that it didn't exist.
Yeah, but I wish I had that, because who knows what would have happened. This might just be that artistic career that I never had. Might just be me trying to catch up.
What is your signature cake? I think this whole dripping down thing is very you.
So I started doing like really colourful drip cakes for my students when I was teaching. It would be an incentive for us to work well together during the school year.
Yeah.
But I had so many students to feed in a class and not enough cake pans that weren't big enough. So they just became really tall cakes. And then like, how do you decorate a tall cake? Well, wouldn't it be great to have like something just like flowing off the top of it? So then I would make really bright, just like goosebump style, you know, those books, the goosebump style drips.
Yeah.
Those kinds of drips cascading over the edge, and the kids loved it. It doesn't give any flavour, it's purely for aesthetics.
Yeah.
But I did it because it's fun.
It's so fun. And you just want to eat it.
Yeah, it's bright, it's colourful. I mean, it is what it is. Ganache strips have been around for so long. I guess because I put them on taller cakes and made them brighter, they became more in fashion.
Yeah.
But they've always been around. But I like to think that people would associate me with fun cakes.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
I wouldn't ever claim that I invented any of that.
Well, I don't know because I'm not in that world, but it looks pretty amazing to me. Now, this book, please, oh my gosh. It's a cookbook, so it teaches us how to make cakes, but
Yes.
it's a pop-up book. Okay, hold on, wait.
Let me know if you need a hand too, because it's heavy.
Well, yes, please. You can have that side. Now, this
It's
is your
a heavy
favourite
book.
one.
Yeah. So
Look
let
at
it pop
that.
right out.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's the Palm Springs wedding cake that I made for two very close friends of mine, and they wanted a Palm Springs inspired wedding. So this was an awesome brief.
You've nailed that. Absolutely
Thank
nailed
you.
it. But this book, tell me the story because
That's a raw vegan cake. So not all cakes have to be filled with sugar and fat and wheat and gluten.
Yes.
That's refined, sugar-free, gluten-free, and it's beautiful. And so I love all sorts of treats, and I don't think that
I never knew you could put
Avocado.
avocado in a cake.
Yeah,
Blueberry, avocado,
it lends
pistachio,
a really nice
raw vegan.
fatty silkiness. It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good substitute for like cream and butter.
This book is incredible, Katherine. I've never seen...
Thank you.
I mean, I've seen
Thank
children's
you.
pop-up books. I've never seen an adult cake pop-up book. It's
I'm
unbelievable.
so stoked to have you look through that. And when I flip
it's
through it,
real.
I'm so critical of myself, and I've been working on it for so long that I can't be like, oh, Kat, you're awesome. This is great. Good on you. So when someone else does it, I feel like
Yeah.
I can actually accept that
Oh my
praise.
gosh, you
so
have
thank
to
you.
accept it. Not only is it amazing aesthetically, the story behind this book where it's self-funded, you've had an absolute mission to get this book off the ground,
Yeah.
and the dream to get it here has been huge. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so when I left teaching, I told my students I was making a cookbook, and that was the honest truth.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do, and that's where I thought I would have my bread and butter. Hey,
Yeah.
I can start writing recipes, have a cookbook.
Yep.
It's been 3 years since I left teaching, and I've been in lots of meetings for cookbooks, and I love traditional cookbooks. I have so many of them. But I thought, well, like, I am not a chef. I'm not classically trained. I almost felt like I didn't deserve to have a traditional cookbook. I hadn't made it yet. But I had such a big community of home bakers who supported me on Instagram and Facebook. And so I thought, well, if the community is already there, why don't I bring an idea to them and say, do you guys like this? If you like it, then would you like to pre-order it, and let's make it happen? So I thought, well, there hasn't been really any pop-up cake cookbooks that I've ever seen. I've seen like a pop-up kind of pastry style cookbook, all in French, but like more simple pop-ups, but nothing that had like 3 tiers popping
Yeah.
up going to poke your eye out. And we have so many fantastic creatives here in Australia. And so that's what we did. I asked a couple of my friends who I knew could help me pull this off. Would you be willing to be a part of it? It's a big gamble. We're going to crowdfund it. We'll have to do some work before we can, you know, have any money from the book, because we need to show people what we're working towards.
Yeah.
So we had a dummy book, and so I'm so grateful to the people on the team who gave me their time and put their faith in me. And then we launched the Kickstarter last year, and a pop-up cookbook costs so much money because it's all hand assembled.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can't just press print.
Yeah.
It's all new. So it has to, the printers, they all have to be reset, specialized knife works to make the pop-ups.
Every single
Yeah,
one.
so you can't just like
Wow.
press print and then have it gone.
Yeah.
It's all from scratch. So yeah, it's been a year and a half since the first writing to people in the book team who I thought would be really good and to help me put this together to now.
Yeah.
18 months. So it's been a really long time, but it's gone really quickly. I'm probably a lot more like tired and I'm a bit more jaded with the world because it's taken so much more effort than I thought it would, but I've learnt so much.
Yeah.
And really grateful for the experience.
And those are the experiences that make you appreciate everything you have. And I know that nothing comes without the hard slog. Nothing comes without the blood, sweat and tears. You can't just have something appear out of nowhere. You have to put in the hard yards. And although like we might look at you and see, oh, you know, she just put a few pictures up on Instagram and then she became like, you know, Katherine Sabbath. Yeah. Now she's got a book. Like it from the outside might seem so simple and easy, but behind the scenes, I don't know how to do this. You have to know how to make a cake stand up that high and how that ice cream is going to stay exactly right there and what colours are going to go, the flavours and what's the ingredients and all of that. That is the hard work. You can't just create something from nothing.
Having to maintain that and making it successful, that's where the hard work comes in.
Yeah.
Because you can just kind of happen upon something, but then how do you keep it?
Yeah.
And then how do you keep moving forward and not be bored with what you're doing,
Yeah.
especially if it's your job now?
Yeah, and to keep getting better and better all the time.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Tell me, what do you have, like in your life, you know, a spiritual sort of, like, do you meditate, do you pray? Is there something that kind of keeps you grounded and something for your soul?
When I was stuttering and struggling with my speech, I hadn't gotten into exercise or any form of physical activity, anything that was truly beneficial for me and my health. But it was only in my mid-20s that I discovered, you know, physical activity. And I wish that I had played sport in high school, in primary school.
Yeah.
That's something that I truly regret because I think it would have made me enjoy that much earlier and appreciate what that does for your physical and mental health. Physical activity, running, I go for jogs. I've done 3 half marathons in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Not good for your knees, but I feel like sometimes I have to do it.
Yeah.
Just to have something to
Yeah.
aim towards. And like I take my dog comes with me to boot camp 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then deep costal breathing. So when I'm having and I did it before seeing you as well, Jules, in the car, just calm myself down and just like breathe like really deep breaths into my diaphragm, and that just centers me. Because if I'm not feeling like I'm grounded and not focusing on people, that's when the anxiety goes haywire. So, and eye contact is what helps a lot. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's good for me.
Because a lot of people have anxiety, and in varying degrees, of course. Do you feel like that's something you have to kind of think about on a daily basis, like that breathing thing? Do you feel that anxiety rising up all the time? Or do you feel like you've got it under control now?
I try to manage it. Some days I'm just a nervous wreck, but I think I know when I'm a nervous wreck, and other people are like, are you all right?
Right, yeah.
You must be really busy today. And I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not that busy. Like, what have I done? I'm just feeling like frantic.
Yeah. In your brain, probably.
Yeah. But, you know, as long as I exercise and do kind things for my body. Like cakes are fantastic, and I will never say that cakes aren't a part of a healthy lifestyle. They totally are. Like celebrating with your friends, having a crescendo at a party is so important, and not depriving.
I love
that.
that.
The cake is just like the centerpiece, and it brings, once someone starts cutting the cake, just watch the room, they all flock, and then someone starts singing, all the cameras out. You know, that's how you get people together. The cake. So that's such a big part of life, but I'm also very aware of the fact that there are so many other things that balance this out, and you can have all of it. You just have to be mindful of looking after yourself too. And then you can have this and not feel bad and not be concerned about all the sugar and the colouring. It's a little bit, and then you'll run it off tomorrow. Eat your veggies.
Yes, exactly. Balance. Balance is the key. This is how I feel about tea, and this is why I started Tea with Jules. I feel like tea just brings people together. It brings out conversation. It makes you stop for a second, have your warm cup of tea. You can connect with somebody. I feel like that's what cake does for you. It brings other people joy. Is that why? Is that what it is?
Nailed that. It is. Part of why I loved making cakes, like a big reason. One is the creative release and just taking time to like let your brain leave your head and move into your hands and just create. That's fantastic. But then giving it to someone and sharing it with them and then being part of the celebration is the best. But when I'm selling cakes, like that doesn't happen. And there's so much pressure on making that perfect cake for someone because it has a price tag on it now. But if you're making cakes for your friends and family and there's no pressure because it's a free gesture and you're part of it, that's the best.
And cake makes everyone happy. It just does. It makes everyone happy.
And I hope that, like, that's why I wanted to do a book as well, because I didn't want a cake shop. I wanted to share this with other people. Like, this makes me so happy and this has been so good for me. And, you know, my friends aren't all suffering because they've eaten too much sugar. They're all perfectly healthy. You can be a cake maker and not be, like, sabotaging your whole street. So I want to spread that this is, and not for people to have pressure on themselves when they make cakes. All of my cakes started because of the ingredients I had around me. The shapes happened because of the tins that I had available. The colours, because my friends' favourite colours were this, or the kids liked bright colours. I think also with Instagram and social media, people put so much pressure on themselves, and there are so many people showing things with their portfolio and everything has to look perfect. And, you know, I'm guilty of this. If I stick my finger through a cake, that part of the cake isn't shown to the camera. So, you know, it looks like all my cakes are perfect. But
like this little bit back here.
Yeah, we should turn that around. So I had to brake the car really suddenly and the cake just went swoosh in the back seat. So
I can see
there's a big gash in the side of it. So I hope that, like, the cookbook and sharing my easy tips and tricks helps people just get over, like, the perfect cake or the perfect traditional ideas of what cake is meant to be, and just create something that they're happy to eat and happy to share with their friends. And just using things around them.
What is the future? What is the future for Katherine Sabbath? What can we see?
You know, I like to do more cookbooks. I'd like to focus on, like, fostering the home baking community. I think like that's really important to me because that's what I would have liked to have been a part of when I was growing up, and then seeing those role models and thinking you can totally have a career in food and then have it even more of a niche in, like, birthday cakes and party cakes and things like that. So I'd like to do that, and also focus on my family. It's difficult enough when you have a full-time job and you've got, you know, all of these holidays to focus on your family, but even more difficult when you're self-employed, you've got no time off and you're just go, go, go. How am I going to sustain this lifestyle? So I would like to think about family in the future if it's possible. We'll see, but you just never know how these things pan out.
I can't wait to see what you do next and what colourful bundle of joy you're going to bring to us.
Maybe another cake.
Yes, I absolutely adore you. I think you're just a beautiful human,
likewise,
inside,
Jules.
outside.
Thank you.
Everything you create is just fun and special. And I'm so glad you came and
Thank
had tea
you.
with me today.
Oh, I think I've neglected my tea, but I'm going to still drink it because tea at any temperature
Do you
is
think
fine.
sometimes cold tea's a bit crap?
Refreshing.
You know what? We can heat up the kettle
lovely.
again. And I'm going to get it stuck into this cake. Which part of it can I have?
So like the actual ice cream scoop is cake.
Yes.
This one is cake.
Yes.
So that I'll let you in on a little secret. So the rest of that cake is foam.
Okay. Oh,
Because I couldn't
outside?
not
No,
come with
inside.
some bright, colourful cake.
Yeah,
so.
you couldn't.
But the rest of it's real, just like the actual.
This part.
But that cake's real and that cake's real.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to eat it all.
Let's do it off camera
Yeah.
because it might get a bit messy.
Okay. Thank you. Loved it.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you so
good.
much.
You're a special one.